What's good, y'all, and welcome to my review for this week's episode of Thousand Year Blood War. What a fucking episode, man. Like, you will see in my reaction to this episode, which ended up being a little bit longer, like, by, get like a 3 minute long, it was like 3 minutes extended compared to usually, like 3-4 minutes or whatever, that I have no words. Like, you will see me gobsmacked throughout my reaction to this episode. My jaw was on the floor for most of the episode, man. Like, I have no words. People were crying during this episode, man. I saw, like, there was also this one person in the Ichihime Discord I'm in, Jay, the big one with Jay, and, IU, if you guys were in that one as well, or whatever. Someone there, I think her name was, like, Soccer or whatever, she mentioned that she had cried watching this episode, and she hasn't cried like that since when she watched FMA, and she found out what Scar did, when Winry found out what Scar did, man. Crazy shit. I did not cry. I was too shocked to fucking cry in this episode, man, but goddamn, what an episode, man. Like, I was like, when I was watching like the last couple of minutes of the episode, and then right after it, man, because literally I have just been marinating this for a while, because it's like almost 4:30 right now as I'm recording. I'm sorry for the delay in the review, guys, because I'm sure the review is gonna be long, and the review might come out pretty late tonight. Had a bunch of things going on today, and we were kind of busy, so didn't really get a chance, so I wasn't able to watch the episode earlier. But, I didn't know, when I went to this episode, I didn't know what to expect. Because I saw everyone losing their goddamn mind. I saw IU tweeting in all caps in Spanish. Rosev, or whatever you pronounce her name, she was losing her shit. Rosu was tweeting, man. Everyone was losing their collective shirts. So I didn't even know what to expect with this episode. When we got the Ichihime poem, obviously I was excited. When I saw the title, I was like, hell yeah, we get an Ichihime episode. Oh, this is going to be legendary. And legendary the episode was. Just not in the way I was expecting it to be. Now, there is a lot to talk about with this episode. And we will talk about that more specifically. We have completely, seemingly thrown out the manga at this point, man. As you guys may have known, you guys watch DBZ Enron or whatever, you guys are manga readers for Bleach, you guys know that we had about 10 chapters of the manga left to adapt at the end of the previous episode. I genuinely question if any part of the manga was even adapted in this episode, or if this was completely an anime original episode. Like, I'm genuinely curious if anything from the manga was adapted in this episode, because it seemed like they went in a completely different direction, and there's been theories and speculation about that, man. We'll talk about that as we get later on to the episode. Probably when we reach the end of the episode, man, we'll talk more about theories and what this could mean for the series. Because let's just let this out right now. We all know Orihime isn't dead. We all know she's coming back in some capacity because obviously there's Kazui. I don't think this is gonna lead. I don't think they're changing. We got the Hell arc. Kubo's working on that as well. We all know that this is just taking a different avenue, a different way, a different route, if you will, to the same ending as the manga did. Like, genuinely, man, I don't even know what the fuck to say anymore, man. But yeah, this was an insane episode. As I mentioned earlier, before I thought I remember where I was. Didn't know what to go in this episode, and when I was watching the last couple of minutes of the episode, and probably right after it ended, right after I finished recording my react, which you guys will probably love, and just see my face just be like, the absolute shock on my face, because, whew, Lord, I was debating whether or not this was my favorite episode of the series. I was like, if it ain't my favorite episode of Bleach or the Thousand Year Blood War at the very least, it's a close second. But the longer I marinated in this, after watching the episode, going back and reading all of Rosev's tweets, Rosu, I haven't checked IU's posts yet, and checking checking the Discord, reading people's tweets, and the spoiler channel for the Thousand Year Blood War to see what other people were saying. The more I think about it, I think this is my favorite episode of Bleach of all time. I thought at the very least it was my favorite episode of the series, and I was close second. This was probably the best animated episode of the series. I think if you compare this episode and put it against literally anything from Bleach, I dare say this episode had better animation. You compare it to episode 6, which everyone puts on a pedestals, it looks better than episode. If you compare it to, the Nozomi arc from the original anime, which arguably had the best art animation of the entire series, of the original series rather, for whatever reason, I don't know what it was about that one filler arc where it got all Sakuga, but whatever the case may be, that arc had some incredible animation. I dare say, I would think it clears it pretty easily. Hell, if you compare this even to the fucking movies, particularly like Hellverse in particular, because that one had some amazing animation with the Okiura reanimation for its fight, man. Of course, the ending of the movie, man. To be fair, I haven't watched it in years, so I might be misremembering some stuff. I dare say it was better animated than all the movies. Like, this episode was, because, like, if you had told me that Masashi Kudo himself was like an AD on this episode, or the chief animation director, or like animate some of that episode, I would believe it, because Jesus Christ, this episode, particularly on Orihime, had the best drawings in the series. Now, he was not on the episode. I did go back and check the credits afterwards, man, though we did actually have Yuki Sato in the episode. And Taguchi, which I remember to mention this before, he's storyboarding and directed this episode himself. And you can definitely tell, because this was probably the best storyboard episode of the entire series. 1,000 Year Blood War, maybe even the original series if you want to include the original anime for Bleach as well. I don't really remember every episode storyboarding, but this is definitely up there. Unfortunately, at the time I recorded this, most of these posts don't have Sakugaburo animators attached to it, just like a few of them have, like there's 3 that Yuki Sato has presumed credits on. There is one that has Masaki Endo on it for the final sequence with Orihime, which had amazing effects work, man. There might be some more that haven't gone and actually looked at the post themselves, but, unfortunately we don't have a lot of confirmed credits yet for this episode, which is unfortunate. Hopefully, the days after this episode comes out, we get some confirmation on who did what, because, like, for an episode like this, I need to know who worked on this episode. I need to know especially who did Orihime scenes, man. I'm sure the AD for this episode was Kiyoshi Komatsubara, if I'm pronouncing his name right. He was the AD for this episode, man, the chief animation director, I should say, for the episode. And then we had Satoshi Saki as the effects AD, which I believe he's worked on this series previously a couple times. I think he was also one that did the Aizen effects for the OP, if I remember correctly. I believe he did that scene. He posted the Gengas for that on his Twitter. I might be misremembering and confusing with a different animator. I think he also did Loser Ranger as well, did the same thing, effects AD. But yeah, man, like, what an episode. Like, this is, but like I said, I thought when I saw the Ichihime poem, when I saw, the poem and everything, man, I thought we were gonna get, a crazy episode. I thought we were gonna, this was gonna be a legendary episode, which it was, but just not in the way it's been. Because Jesus Christ, Orihime gets fucked up in this episode. She gets royally fucked up. And I've seen people on Twitter from, like I said, the main Ichihime shippers in particular, man, they've been like, they're going through it, man. They're going through it with how much Orihime got abused and got fucked up in this episode with everything, man. But yeah, one thing I want to, and this is the last thing I'm gonna say before we actually get started on the episode proper. This episode, I know for a fact, is going to end the slander on Orihime. At least I hope it does. Surely after this, that is enough to really finally get off her ass and stop calling her, like, useless and shit like with Sakura back in the day, man. Like, we already had that a little bit when she standoff against Yuhan, pushed back his spiritual pressure, whatever, in episode 3 when the movie version of this came out, and obviously again when the TV version had dropped. But with this episode particularly, man, like, Orihime stocks had never been higher, and I hope that this is when people finally give that woman her flowers and acknowledge her for the incredible character and, strong character in Bleach that she is. But anyway, I've rambled on long enough. Let's get on to the actual episode. So we start this episode off, and from the jump, we know that this episode is going to be on some shit. Because not only for this episode does it just jump straight into the episode title card for Bleach 5045, Defend You, I think is what it was called. All right from the jump do we get that. But When the OP plays, you guys know that pretty much since Core 1, I don't know how this is for other shows, maybe it's something to do with TV Tokyo themselves, not entirely sure, but the episode, after the OP airs, there will always be an additional part, which I think might be like leading to a commercial break in when the show airs in Japan or something, I'm not sure. But it would always have like a little preview of the episode, preview for the rest of the episode with the OP playing over like some silent clip of the episode that's going to air, play a little bit later in the episode or whatever. This episode did not do that at all. It just went straight from the OP into the rest of the it went straight from the OP into the rest of the episode. So already you know that this was going to be something. But anyway, I'm very curious how this, because like I said, there's a lot of talk about this episode, man. I'm very curious how long this review is going to be. It might end up being like over 40 minutes. This might end up being my longest Bleach review. I don't know. I'll find out once I actually start editing the video. Once again, sorry for the delays because I'm sure it's going to come out pretty late. Anyway, so we started off with Ichigo and with Yuha. Yuha said that the fusion between Getsuga Tensho and Grand Ryo Zero, a fitting power for one born from a fusion of so many things, and yet it falls short as he stabs the Getsuga Tensho with his sword. The effects animation looks amazing. So after the Grand Ryo Zero Getsuga Tensho disperse, Ichigo charges towards him. Obviously, he gets pushed back. We get some cool impact frames. Pushes back, charges towards him again. This is where we get the Defend You, OP, and then we continue on with the episode. Chad actually gets a little showcase this episode, man. One thing I know a lot of people have been hoping for, that Chad finally gets to do something in the 1,000 Year Blood War, the extensions. We don't know if Chad's going to get, his own time to shine like Orihime did, or once again, he isn't going to get much to do. But I don't know if any part of the manga was adapted this episode. If not, it was definitely opening. They probably does the opening 5-10 minutes of the episode. But anyway, Chad, we see him punching, we see him fighting with the rest of the guards. We get some really cool impact from it. I think it was done in episode 1 with the skull thing with Chad, which I think was done the same thing in the first episode as well. But it looks cool once again where we see him punch one of the guards. We get these impact frames and skull before we see the skull on the soldier itself before it falls down, and of course they can regenerate and get back up. Renji and Rukia come. This is when Renji and Rukia finally show up, man. They're always asking where Ichigo is. He tells them they went on ahead, and Renji takes care and fights off against the guys enough to let Rukia go on ahead while he sticks around with Chad and with Chad and Ganjo. So then we get back to Uryu. He's now basically been sent back up to where they started their fight. He fires a bunch of arrows to dissipate the Almighty or the Soul King's power, whatever this black stuff is called. But then of course. Hushwell appears right behind him. He's running away. All you're going to do, Uryu Ishida. He fires this combined arrow, bunch of arrows to one mass arrow fires up, which of course he easily deflects. And Hushwell says he'll strike down your arrows and expose everything about you. And Uryu tells him, go ahead and try if your swords can reach me, that is. We then cut back to Ichigo and Orihime once again, and this is when we gotta talk about easily one of the best parts of the episode, if not the highlight of the episode, besides obviously the animation, is the storyboard. Once again, like I said, Taguchi himself was a storyboard artist for this episode. I don't know how many other episodes he directed and storyboarded. I assume he probably did the first one, because obviously he did, because that was Core 1. Probably maybe he's directed some in between there. I don't know if what other episodes he's done. I haven't gone back and checked. But either way, man, one thing I love about this episode when it comes to storyboard is I'm a little biased on this one, to be fair, because you guys know I'm a big Ichihime fan. But regardless, I love it also. We get a lot of really clean Ichihime shots. We're right here when we come back to Ichigo, he runs past Orihime as they're fighting, and it's slow-mos right after Ichigo gets right ahead of her, and Orihime's looking at Ichigo as he runs on ahead, man. It's a really cool shot. So they start fighting in the air. We see all these cool lightning effect things in the sky, man. It looks really fucking cool. Yuha and Ichigo keep fighting, calls him saying a vortex of chaos like nothing arrow. That is the true power of the soul, of the very power of the Soul King. They crash swords again, they pushes him back, and we see Ichigo falling, and he's just barely above where Orihime is, as he falls back down to the ground, man. The shot, and once again, of course, it does slow-mo where you get to see Orihime kind of looking up at him, man. It's really cool. All the Ichihime shots we got in this episode, man, were so fucking good, man. Oh man, I hope we get some good Genghis for this episode, man. Like, there's a lot of shots I want the Genghis for. And I think we'll probably get them, because the Parrot's been pretty good at actually giving us good shots for their Genghis when they post them, man. But hopefully we get some good Ichihime shots for the Genghis this episode. Anyway, so Yuha, of course, goes after Ichigo again. Orihime puts her shield up to try to block it. Doesn't work. She gets sent to the ground as well. And we see that Yuha is now holding up Ichigo in the air by his arm. Now, before we continue on, one thing I have to quickly mention before I forget is the one thing that was, I think, the top priority, obviously, besides all the, original scenes and everything, man, and how well storyboard the episode was, everything, probably the biggest highlight besides that was Orihime's hair. Because Jesus fucking Christ, Orihime had quite possibly the best drawings of the entire episode, man. There was a lot which we'll also get more in depth in certain scenes when we get there, man. But they were really focusing on Orihime's hair. This is some of the best hair animation I have ever seen, man. My God, her hair just looks stunning in this episode, man. Seriously. So, then we reach probably the part of the episode that was the hardest to watch for the female Orihime/Ichihime, fans out there. I'm not sure as I said, there's a bunch of people that mentioned before in the Discord that mentioned that they were crying. This is more than likely when Orihime had sacrificed herself, but I wouldn't be surprised if this was also extremely hard for a lot of them to watch. Where, at this point, Yuha just keeps stabbing Ichigo, and Orihime keeps, reviving him. And, we get some narration from Orihime mentioning about her power, about her wishing and desiring to protect Ichigo, and that her power is weak and everything, which is funny to think, considering we know Orihime is one of the strongest characters in Bleach, but, I digress. But this kind of goes into the central theme of the episode, which obviously was kind of spelled out with the title of it. And really just the theme of the series itself is obviously, the biggest Ichigo's goal in the series, which, illiterate idiots will tell you, Ichigo has no goal, but if you actually, read the series and whatnot, you would know. Or if you you were remotely literate. Anyway, his goal is obviously to protect his friends because of what happened with his mom, and, he wants to protect his friends. And this episode kind of gives you that, but from Orihime's perspective, and her desire to protect Ichigo. This kind of feels like the Fullbring arc, but in reverse from Orihime's perspective, because you guys remember the Fullbring arc was all about Ichigo being depressed and feeling like he was weak and doesn't have the power to protect his friends anymore, and him clawing to, get his soul reaver powers back, obviously with the Fullbrings and everything. This feels a lot like that, but for Orihime in this episode. I don't know if you guys would agree with me, but that's kind of what I got from watching this episode. Honestly, low-key, I kind of want to make an animation breakdown thread on this episode. For one, how well animated it is, but also to talk about Ichihime, because funny enough, literally earlier today, before I watched the episode, a friend of mine, Sidespeed, if you guys watch my Hirowaka videos, you guys are probably familiar with her. I mentioned her a couple times, and, she has helped me out on a couple videos, but she was, talking about this whole thing about, about how you could tell a ship is going to be canon and why it's canon, going more than just the old, oh, they're cute together, and, it'd be they have no moments or whatever, is how the relationship benefits the story and kind of reflects the themes of the stories and everything, man. It was a really interesting read when she told us about that, man. So funny enough, she tells me all that, and then this episode kind of gives me all that on a sword plan. So I low-key want to make an episode breakdown this episode on my Twitter. Not gonna put any timestamps on when this is, because you guys know I got a job now. So I'm working on the next chapter of Path of the Spider-Man. I really want to get that done before the end of the month. I'm closing it on the end of it though, thankfully. So probably in September, I'll probably sit down and make this thread, and probably send it to Rosu or whoever, Jay, to give them to fact check everyone again, see what they have to say. But yeah, I do want to make an episode breakdown thread on my Twitter about this episode, man. So look forward to that animation breakdown whenever I post it, I guess. Anyway, but anyway, like I said, she keeps stabbing him, he keeps stabbing and she keeps healing him. Then Yuha's like, hi! And then just starts attacking Orihime. And this is when first he takes care of her, throws her to one thing, and be alright, and then finishes off Ichigo again, creating this massive hole, and he starts in his chest, and he just starts coughing up blood. Orihime once again heals him again, and this is when Yuha turns his attention to Orihime and just keeps stabbing her, and she keeps healing herself. And then the episode just decides just to really, and like once again we get some incredible drawings from Orihime, particularly of her hair and her face when she starts to get up and start to enter demon mode. Shout out to Orihime Seiyu, man. She sounded fucking brilliant this episode, man. And we actually get to see Orihime like lower her voice. We get to hear her lower it, which like completely took me by surprise, man. Like, if there was one part of the episode I'm most looking forward to hearing dub, it's this, just to see how Stephanie plays it, because I have gotten to hear Stephanie's lower register, because in Blue Exorcist she plays a character that's like Chinese. She also plays young Yukio in the series, which is funny because Yukio's voiced by JYP. But anyway, she voiced it, and like for that role, she uses her lower register. So I'm very curious to see how she's gonna voice Orihime in this scene, man. When she says "I reject" to heal herself, or maybe heal Ichigo. I forget which one she was. We didn't really get to see which one she was healing. I think it was Ichigo she was healing, because he looks like he like tried to he looked like he decapitated him. It cuts away before we could see anything. But regardless, she falls to the ground. She's like heavy breathing. She's starting to enter demon mode at this point, man. I'm like, hey, yo, this is the same girl we know, the cute little girl we see eating bread. You know, it's crazy. Finally, Rukia shows up, man. Ichigo, of course, once he's free, immediately goes to check on Orihime. You gotta love man's gotta check on his girl. And, obviously he's like, I just have to mention this, man. Like, I love that even when they're in the heat of battle, Ichigo's face immediately softens when he checks on Orihime, man, to make sure she's okay, and thanks her for helping him, man. Like, I love these two so much, man. Ichihime is like crack. And so we get to the part of the episode where it feels like, I mean, we'll see this a little bit more later on in the episode as well with Uryu, but it low-key felt like Kubo was feeding every ship for this episode. We get this episode's built around Ichihime. We get Ichigo and Rukia arguing like they used it for the Ichiruki's, and then we get another like smash cut part where it feels like he's like giving some crumbs to the to the Orihime Uryu shippers, because they exist too. Very small, but hey, they chill, man. Although I did read in one of IU's tweets that apparently people, more than likely Ichiruki's, are like happy that Orihime is quote unquote dead, because hey, maybe because they think that's gonna make Ichiruki's gonna be canon. I don't know how they're that stupid, but I haven't seen any tweets like that, but it would not surprise me at all. Anyway, so they argue and everything, and and Ichigo says that the Horn of Salvation is cool, which it is. The Horn of Salvation is very cool. But anyway, she says, Ichigo, I'm glad you haven't lost your spine, and then they team up to fight off against Yuha. Now, but before we get that, we cut back to Uryu once again, and Uryu starts to learning on how Haschwaldt's almighty powers when he switched works, and he seems like he only can see the future for like 3 seconds before, or at least 3 seconds before he the cooldown period between whenever he can use his power to see into the future is 3 seconds he has. Which is right where we can see right here where he's about to like stab him with like his Quincy sword arrow thing. It says like to prove that you can. He says that Uryu says that this is an arrow. Prove that you can see what I'm going to say, Grandmaster. If there is a next time, that is, as he like deflects the arrow and sends Uryu into like some pillar. We cut back to Ichigo and Rukia teaming up, man. Animation here is incredible, man. Though on the post on Sakuga, now this could just be a case that Ken, who was the one honestly made all these posts, just forgot to mention. But like, I'm pretty sure there's some 3D backgrounds in here, but none of the posts for the scene mention any. Doesn't have a tag for 3D backgrounds. Like, let me check again. Yeah, it's not listed for having 3D backgrounds. So I don't know if this episode, if this was all 2D backgrounds. More than likely it's all 3D, just from the way the camera was moving. I'm pretty sure the backgrounds were 3D, but even if this is all 2D, man, hey, Jesus Christ, it's like his background animation is even on here, so I think Ken just forgot to tag it. But whether or not the backgrounds are 2D or 3D here, man, this scene looked incredible, man, and was incredibly well storyboarded. As they're trying to fight off against Yuha, we get to see Yuha has a fucking Death Star laser in his arsenal, because of fucking course he is. Orihime is looking at it like completely flabbergasted at the destruction of this one. Rukia manages to encase Yuha in ice as they both rush towards him to for a double attack. Man, but then he like fires this like red beam at them, and then we see like these black tendrils stabbing both Ichigo and Rukia. Orihime starts freaking out. You know, she says, if my power was stronger, they wouldn't get hurt like this. It's because my power is so weak. And once again, Orihime say it was brilliant here, man. I cannot wait to hear Stephanie Shea voices, man. Like, I'd love to know what her reaction to Booth is, unless someone's gonna tell her at a convention, because she's at Anime NYC now, which she also has these new pins done by Rosa as well, man. Her and JYB are signing, man. You love to see it. But anyway, so I'm very curious. Like, I'm sure there's probably some fans running to her booth to tell her about this episode while they're probably in the middle of sobbing or something. I don't know, but I cannot wait to hear Stephanie voice the scene, man. But anyway, as Orihime keeps saying this, man, we get this really cool POV shot of Orihime putting her hands up like she's about to try and trying to block the tendrils or whatever. Ichigo comes in there, man, and grabs her arm and right here is when he says, "Return to nothingness, you of feeble strength," and just unleashes his Death Star laser and point blank range to the three of them, man. And this cut is presumed to be done by Satoshi Saki. Like I said, who was the effects AD for the episode, man. Just from how effects heavy this is, man, looked amazing. And then Yuha thinks he's won. He says, "Goodbye, my son." And then this is when we get to see like the blood crescent moon, and we go into the eclipse, and we see Blood Chains Ichigo, the new form, which, oh my god, this was insane, man. This was fucking insane. Which, first of all, in the actual episode, man, Ichigo's silhouette is kind of darkened. You can't really get a good look at it, and like the actual text of it is like burnt, and you can just see like chains in Ichigo. But on the Bleach official Twitter account, they did post a full image with the text present there, so if you want to read, you can. But yeah, man, this looked fucking cool, man. But yeah, I am kind of curious. Like, I love this scene where like Ichigo is right there with Orihime, as they like basically about to witness about to face death in the face, or Ichigo makes sure he grabs Orihime to make sure that I love these two so much, man. Anyway, like I said, this review is going to be long. I would not be surprised. I don't know if it's wrong, but I would not be surprised if this review goes 40 minutes long by the time I'm done with it. And at this point, Ichigo just starts aura farming, hardcore, man. Like, the sound design here is amazing. Ichigo's footsteps leave black flames in his wake, man, like his fucking Ghost Rider or some shit. It's fucking awesome. Also, before I forget to mention, I forgot to mention this earlier, but like, this is like so disrespectful and kind of funny, is that during when Ichigo and Rukia are fighting together, Yuha grabs Ichigo by the Horn of Salvation and throws him to the ground. I forgot to mention that, but that scene got me laughing. I was like, disrespect. But anyway, so Ichigo, we now have Blood Chains Ichigo. He tries to fire attack. Ichigo puts up a shield of chains to block the attack. And at this point, we get to like the first of I believe 3 sequences that are presumably done by Yuki Sato. And just incredible work as we see I'm not even gonna try. Like, it's all over the goddamn place. Ichigo's doing all this crazy shit. Like, I can't do it justice, so I'm not even going to try to, man. But it looks fucking incredible, man. We get to see an Itano circus here, which I love whenever cuts do that, when they have a feature in Itano circus, man, with like the lasers and character dodging lasers, man. It's always super cool to see, man. We get some really cool, like, seemingly 3D background work with some effects, man, with rotations. It just looks incredible work here, man. Ichigo now can use shadow clones, basically apparitions, to try and defeat Yuha and seemingly clone himself. Like, it is just absolute, utter madness, man. Incredible impact frames, gorgeous effects work, man. Like, assuming this was all done by Yuki Sato and not maybe her with someone else, she outdid herself here, man. All 3 of her presumed cuts, sequences, man, are all just some of her best work, honestly, assuming all 3 of these are here. But as the piece de la resistance, the cherry on top, the final aura form from Ichigo is in the sky after Ichigo hits a Gato Tensho, is a crescent moon above the castle with like clouds around it, man, and like a rotating shot around. I'm like, bro. And it looks incredible. We even get to see a shot of Shunsui and Nanao watching the crescent moon, which would make an incredible background, I must say, man. So, thank you, Kubo, for feeding me some more. For all my fellow Shunsui and Nanao shippers, there we go. We got something. Anyway, So that was insane, man. After that, Yuha goes on about how Ichigo is underestimating him and that I'll take him down this instant. That's what he says. That's what you're telling yourself, correct? And he says, I'm not underestimating you. To devour you, I need to understand you. And Rukia's telling Ichigo to kill him right now. And then Yuha says, Elsa, this isn't just ended. I think this was the one that had like a 3D panning shot with like the lasers and effects work. That was just insanity work. That was just insane work here, man. But after that, Ichigo is thrown to the ground, man. Orihime, of course, rushes to him. And the character ending here on him, I must say, she's like barely able to like stay upright, man. As she's tripping, as she's like falling and tripping, trying to reach Ichigo, man, was incredible. And so when she starts to close in, Yuha grabs one of his like tendril things to lift Orihime up in the air. He commends her for her strength of will, but calls her weak, and that she falls short of being able to fight alongside Ichigo, more or less protect him. You are here because Ichigo's unable to let go of his weakness for you. Ichigo screams Yuha and charges toward him. This is when we get to the second of Yuki Sato's presumed sequences, man. Once again, looks incredible as Rukia activates her Bankai. Just incredible work, man. Just insanity, man. Incredible effects work, man. I have no words, but basically, around here, once again, Yuha reiterates that Orihime is Ichigo's weakness, which, you love to see it, man, Ichihime. But as you guys know, Grimmjow also came to the same conclusion about this, man, and, trying to attack her. Okiora did this as well, famously, with him doing everything in his power to break her by killing Ichigo in front of her, man. You love to see it, man. You love to see it, man. As Ichiruki see that they ain't got this shit. Anyway, so after Rukia's attack with her Bankai, Orihime's the tendril thing that had Orihime turns to ice. It starts to shut. She gets back on the ground. She thinks it's over. She looks up and sees that both Ichigo and Rukia have been stabbed by Yuha and are seemingly dead. Obviously, we know they aren't dead because, like I said, we still have Kazui and Ishika to get to. Anyway, Orihime is, of course, shocked by this. She gasps and holds her hands to her mouth, man, as she is I would dare say now reach the pits of despair. This whole episode kind of reminded me of I don't know if I think I might mention this earlier in the review. I don't know. I've been all over the place. This is probably what I'll mention that when I do that animation breakdown thread anyway. That this reminded me a lot of the Fullbring arc where, the Fullbring arc was obviously about Ichigo feeling weak and powerless and, him being depressed and him doing everything he can to gain back his Soul Reaper powers too so he can finally protect his friends again. And then when he reaches the pits of despair when I forget the dude's name, had stolen or absorbed the last bits of his Soul Reaper power seemingly, and it starts tearing, it starts raining, and Ichigo starts crying, starts screaming his head off, man. JYP performed that scene brilliantly. He had reached the pits of despair. That's when Rukia came in there. He was back as a Soul Reaper. This scene kind of reminded me a lot of that, where Orihime reaches the very pits of despair, and that is when she unlocks her true potential or whatever. It reminded me a lot of that scene, man. I don't know, or I guess you could say it's with Vasto as well, with Ichigo as well. Anyway, so this is when we get to the Orihime parallels of the episode, where, like I said, Ichigo and Rukia are seemingly dead. They've both been stabbed, and Orihime shopping this. We see the hairpins split in half. We cut back to Uryu, and Hashimoto's has vanished like dust. Uryu Ishida, exactly as I saw it. Uryu Ishida, your last resort, Leiden Hunt, if I pronounce the name right. The glove we saw Uryu used during the Soul Society arc, which was a lot longer, I remember in there, man, but here it's a lot shorter, or maybe it's the same length, I don't know. Which I'm pretty sure the first time we have seen this glove since Soul Society. I was losing my mind, I was like, yo, he's wearing the glove! He's wearing the glove! I was losing my goddamn mind seeing the glove. But anyway, he says, and then he puts the glove on, says, I see your next move as well. And Uryu says, maybe you shouldn't use His Majesty's powers right without a plan. And he says, it makes yourself vulnerable. He's like, vulnerable? How could I possibly be vulnerable? Well, so you can tell it's because you got behind me. And we see the Quincy Crescent thing, I forget what it was called, behind him, ready to launch an attack. And then we cut back to Orihime again, and we have an acoustic version. I think by now the acoustic version of the ED starts playing as Orihime starts like slowly walking her way towards Ichigo and the others. Her blood starts to rise as she calls upon all the different spirits that are within her hairpin, like Tsubaki and whatnot. I forget what they're actually called. And like on this point, I'm like, hey, yo, is Orihime about to start blood bending or some shit? Like, what the fuck is happening? She like calls upon each and every one of them as she gets closer to him. Yuha fires another attack at Orihime. She manages to deflect it, and we see this massive explosion going on behind her, man. Orihime says, why am I so weak? Why are my powers so inconsequential? Uryu screams, Stetterban, stomp out. You guys know I'm not German. Which is, I guess, the name of the attack he was about to launch. Korasu like, I already saw that, turns around, takes his sword out of Uryu, which, and also given the 3-second cooldown that he mentioned earlier, he manages to like manage to wrap his arm, get his arm around his mouth, and then slips the glove onto him, and he's like, it's possible 3 seconds will not let you win, but it's still 3 seconds, and this is when we see him put the glove on. Of course, Hoshwell starts freaking out about this. We cut back to Orihime. If only my powers were much stronger, so strong that I couldn't hold it in all myself. If it were so great that it would be boundless, then I could envelop the whole world, fighting pain and suffering. I could make it so that they never happen. And while this is going on, we see like a portal or something, for like a circular portal is in front of Orihime that the spirits are circling around. Orihime like falls into it and basically then slingshots herself over to Yuha, going right past Ichigo, and like it's all in slow motion. And then we get to, once again, to go back with the flower symbolism that was mentioned earlier in Core 4. We then see like this like flower, like I believe I saw a tweet saying it was like a lotus flower appear above her forehead as she like pushes it forward, man, and basically defeats Yuha. While that's going on, Uryu breaks off one of the pins or whatever of the glove, which obviously depowers Hashwalt. And we see that Orihime defeats Yuha. She like turns back to Ichigo and mouths something right before, they both seemingly die or get sent to some alternate reality or something. Now, quickly, I want to mention about this, man. There a couple things I want to mention about this real quick. One is what Orihime says. Now, there are some theories about what Orihime said. Some people think that Orihime seemingly finally confessed to Ichigo here, which, given his expression, would people say, like, look at him, his ass needs to be put on suicide watch, which would not be surprised about that, man. I wouldn't be surprised this is when Ichigo finally decides to confess her feelings to Ichigo, and if she did, man, God, what a scene. But anyway, in the official Bleach Twitter account, this is what she says at the end of the episode. Anyway, when they posted a screenshot of the shot, it says, "Bye-bye, Kurosaki-kun, I'll take it all in for you." Now, I don't know which one she says. Like, some people think that, like I said, some people became, like, the way she mouthed it seemed like she said, like, the Japanese phrase for, like, I love you, or, like, something where it would seem like she was, like, confessing to Ichigo. It could be this as well, given that this is makes sense. What she does take it in all in by herself. So I wouldn't be surprised this is what she actually said to Ichigo as she dies or gets sent to some alternate reality or something. I don't know. Now, another thing I want to mention real quick, and this is something I also saw on Twitter. I'm looking for the tweet right now. I don't know if I'll be able to find it while I'm talking about it. But basically, people were pointing once again about the symbolism, which you guys know Bleach is Kubo himself is very known for doing symbolism, parallels, all that jazz, was to Buddha, given the lotus flower apparently, and that basically she has reached nirvana by finally letting go of Ichigo and everything that she was dear, just letting go. She had reached nirvana and reached like the full potential of her power. I'm trying to find the tweet right here, but I haven't been able to find, like, scrolling to try and find, but I can't find it so far. And if I find the tweet about this theory, which this leads to people speculating that this is like some time travel thing, and like in the next episode, it's going to be showing like the reality that Yuha saw when he defeated Ichigo, or another reality, which will adapt the rest of the manga, including Ichigo and Aizen teaming up. Because as far as I'm concerned, Ichigo and Orihime, and not Orihime, Ruki didn't have a team up. We didn't see her Bankai in the manga, and just Ichigo and Aizen team up instead, and people are theorizing that we're going to see Aizen's Bankai. Well, James thinks that's going to be saved for a movie, which I think as well, but I wouldn't be surprised if they use that for one of these episodes when Ichigo and Aizen team up and we see his Bankai. Now I don't know about that for certain, like I said, these are just theories that I've seen from the episode, just like right after it come out. But I would not be surprised, given how different this is. Like obviously Orihime isn't dead. We still got to get to Kazui and Ichika, Helllark, and all that jazz, man. So obviously, obviously Orihime is not dead. Like I saw some tweets about this, and I kind of agree. Like I was looking expecting some Izuocha eggs. I was not Ichihime eggs. I was not expecting like this. Like bro, with everything that's going on, man, whether there is some time travel, multiversal fuckery where Orihime is sent in a different reality or universe with Yuha or whatever, and then Ichigo or whoever has to find a way to get her back, you know, like Ichigo, there's gotta be a kiss. When Ichigo finds her again and is reunited with Orihime, there needs to be a kiss or something. Like after all this pain you put us through, we gotta have the kiss, man. We gotta have it, man. Seriously. But yeah, man, incredible sequence, man. And then after all of that, we get to the actual full title card of the episode. Bleach 45, Life to Defend You, as one of the flowers that Orihime mentioned that it was like Ichigo's heart. There was two of them next to each other. One of them falls down as we get the Life 2 part of the Defend You title card. And then after that, they play the rest of the credits for the episode with flowers, with flower petals coming down the screen, man. And yeah. And then for the actual final shot of the episode, they show it. They show it with the both two flowers, but when the color turns it, when the color appears, it's once again just the one flower that still appears there. So which I thought was a nice touch, man. But yeah, what a goddamn episode, man. Seriously, man. This, wow. Like I said, this is probably the greatest episode in all of Bleach, man. And I dare say this is probably the best animated episode in all. This episode's so damn good, it fucking DBZ Enron did a whole reaction to this episode, man, which he doesn't do. You know, crazy work. Crazy work. But yeah, there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot leading into the next episode, man, which before I forget to mention, Orihime's sacrifice sequence was done presumably by Masaki Endo. That was the animator that's credited for that. But yeah, yeah, this was tragic, man. Like I said, this was probably a scene that had a lot of people crying, you know. What a scene. And if I could find the tweet where it talks about, you know, the whole thing with like Orihime and Buddha, I'll be sure to link that down in the description box below in case so you guys can read it for yourself. Because like I said, I cannot find it while I'm recording this. But if I find it, I'll put it in the description box for you guys so you guys can go and read it for yourself. But yeah. I don't know where this could lead for the rest of the series. Like, if this could lead, like, this was all some, like, vision that you all saw, and the next episode will be the back to the canon material, or Orihime's been sent to some alternate reality or something, or maybe she is actually dead because, you know, Kubo obviously added her to the Death album. I don't know where this could go, man. Like, at this point, Kubo has thrown the manga out at this point. And none of us know what's going to happen in the next episode at this point because of what we just watched. So next week will be a very, very, very interesting episode to watch, man. What the fuck will be the follow-up to this? Like, what could possibly happen after this episode? Where could we go? Like I said, some people are theorizing this is like some time travel thing, and we're going to see Uri, and we're going to see, like, you know, another reality or another vision where you actually won. That'll be where we get to see the rest of the manga actually get adapted properly. Who knows? It is absolute fucking madness, man. Everyone's losing their goddamn mind about this episode, man, and yeah, some people also point out that the power what Orihime showed here was something that looks like similar to something Kazui done in, I believe this was the Helllark chapter, so there's that as well on where that could go. But yeah, also one other thing I forgot to mention as well, and he mentioned that, like, other people theorizing about that there might be some time travel or something about where we're going to see alternate realities or maybe another vision where that will actually adapt the rest of the manga, is because people have posted, someone had posted, quote tweet this tweet where Murata had mentioned about what was like one of the memorable moments from recording Core 4, and one of them was when he shouted "My Bankai," which hadn't happened in this episode because he never shouted Bankai in this episode. So who knows? That could be somewhere they go, and people theorize that this means that we're going to see another vision where that will adapt the manga, and U-Haul will go straight for Oh yeah, I found it right here. I found the tweet. I was like, this looks like this came from like Facebook or anything, but yeah. Someone posted the same peak character, right? Basically, this is what it says. That's a lotus flower on her forehead. She reaches enlightenment. She listens to Buddha and let go of attachment, things that they are. The symbolism is all there. Her charm breaking, rushing past Ichigo, letting go of her having to always rely on him protecting her. She has reached nirvana. She will be out for the rest of the fight, but will return after Yuha falls. So yeah. Like I said, well, who knows what this could lead to the follow-up episode, man, but yeah. What an episode, man. Hopefully, this, like I said, you know, if, to all the people that said Orihime is useless and now suddenly switch up, fuck you. You had your chance and you dissed this woman. You do not get to enjoy it like the rest of us, man. Fuck you. Like James said when Bleach has returned, you don't get to eat at our table when you have been shitting on the series till this point, man. So, yeah, fuck off. But yeah, what an episode, man. I have no words, man. Insane, man. I will not be surprised this review ends up being 40 minutes by the time I actually start editing it. I'll see once I'm actually done recording it. But yeah, man, what an episode. Easily, I definitely would say this is the best episode of all of Bleach. At least 1,000 Year Blood War, man. Like, there's nothing more I can add. Insanity. We'll see where this goes in the last, like, 4 episodes of the series. Just insane, man. Like, what an episode, man. Like, what a fucking episode. Anyway, I've rambled on long enough. Overall, I give this episode a 10 out of fucking 10, ladies and gentlemen. As always, hope you guys enjoyed the video. You like if you did, subscribe if you're new. Follow me on social if you like it. Links are dropped below. And as always, come back for more. See you guys next time.